Today we're starting lesson 2.5, day 1 on rational functions. The objectives today is to analyze and graph rational functions. Some of the vocabulary words that we're going to be talking about is rational function, asymptotes, and wholes. What a rational function is a quotient, aka division, of two polynomial functions. For example, f of x equals x squared plus 2 all over x plus 3 would be considered a rational function because it's a quotient of two polynomials. An asymptote is a line which a graph approaches but never touches. There's two types of asymptotes. We have vertical ones and we have horizontal ones. One thing unique about asymptotes, especially horizontal ones, is that they may be crossed. Vertical ones cannot. The last vocabulary word is what wholes are in graphs. These are considered removable discontinuities. Graphically, they kind of appear as just an empty space. But algebraically, we can determine wholes when we have factors cancel. So for example, if we had x squared minus 4 all over x minus 2, notice the numerator is a difference of squares, so we can factor that to x minus 2, x plus 2, which notice will cancel the denominator factor of x minus 2. Since these two factors cancel, we consider that x equals 2 would be a whole in the graph. There's a couple things we want to remember when we're graphing these rational functions, which is our big focus today. One thing is the domain restrictions. And remember, domain restrictions happen when the denominator is 0 because we cannot divide by 0. Another thing we need to remember is what these wholes are. As mentioned before, these are factors that can be canceled out in the numerator and denominator. Some other tricks of the trade is knowing when vertical asymptotes occur and when horizontal asymptotes occur. With vertical asymptotes, this is when the denominator is 0. It does not include when factors cancel out because remember, those are considered wholes. Horizontal asymptotes, there's some tricks to figure out horizontal asymptotes. One trick is that when the higher degree on top, there's no asymptote. For example, if we had f of x equals x squared minus 2 all over x, notice that the degree on top, which is x squared, is higher than the degree on the bottom, which is just 1. That we would consider there would be no horizontal asymptotes here. When you get horizontal asymptotes, especially when the degree is higher in the denominator than on the numerator, y equals 0 is always going to be your horizontal asymptote in those cases. So for example, if you had f of x equals x minus 2 all over x squared plus 3, notice that the degree on the bottom is higher than the one on the top. This means that y equals 0 would be our horizontal asymptote. And lastly, when the degrees are the same, so both the top and the bottom have the same degree, the horizontal asymptote would be y equals whatever the ratio of the leading coefficients are. So for example, if you had f of x equals 3x squared minus 1 all over 2x squared plus 1, notice that the degrees are the same, we both have a power of 2, and the ratio of the leading coefficients, which in this case, the leading coefficients of both of these are 3 and 2, that means that y equals 3 over 2 would be our horizontal asymptote in that case. The last type of asymptote we'll talk about later in this section, but these are called slant asymptotes. And these occur when the top and bottom have no common factors. When we come across this, we have to use long division to figure out what the slant asymptote is because eventually it will be some sort of a linear function in y equals mx plus b form. But again, not our focus today. We'll be talking more about that next week. The last important thing when sketching graphs of rational function is getting some specific points, particularly the intercepts. There's two types of intercepts. We have the y-intercept and we have the x-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we just simply sub in 0 for x. So for example, if we had f of x equals 3x squared minus 1 all over x plus 2, if I sub in 0 for x, I get 3 times 0 squared minus 1 all over 0 plus 2, and if I simplify, I'm left with negative 1 over 2. That means that 0, negative 1/2, would be considered the y-intercept of this function. Now for the x-intercepts, it's a little bit difficult because we have to sub in 0 for y. But in a rational function, if we have something like f of x equals 3x plus 1 all over x minus 2, whenever this function is 0, well, that's really when the numerator is 0, right? Because 0 divided by anything is 0 in math. So it's really focusing about setting the numerator equal to 0 and solving for x. In this case, I get x equals negative 1/3. Remember, for an x-intercept, the y-coordinate's always 0. So as my point, the x-intercept for this function would be negative 1/3, 0. Now let's try to put this all together in one. So in this example, we want to find the domain, identify any holes, asymptotes, intercepts, and use all that information to sketch the graph of the function. Let's first focus on domain. Remember, domain, we need to look at really what the domain restrictions are. So in this case, if we factor the denominator, the numerator is still x plus 1, but if we factor the denominator, that's a difference of squares. So that would factor into x minus 2, x plus 2. This means that x cannot equal 2 or x cannot equal negative 2, because if we sub them in, we get an undefined value, dividing by 0. In interval notation, it would look like this. Everything from negative infinity to negative 2, not including it. Everything between negative 2 and 2, not including those values. And then everything from 2 to positive infinity. This would be our domain of this function. Next is to identify any holes in the graph. Remember, these occur when factors cancel. If you look at the factored form, notice that we don't have any factors canceling with the top and bottom. So for holes, we just say that there's none. Next, we need to identify the asymptotes. This means the horizontal and vertical asymptotes. Verticals or asymptotes are pretty easy to find because whatever x cannot equal, those are considered our vertical asymptotes. So in this case, we'd say a vertical asymptote at x equals 2 and x equals negative 2, because that's what makes it undefined. Now for horizontal asymptotes, you have to remember those tricks from the previous slide. And the tricks that I'm referring to is looking at the degree of the top and bottom. Notice that in this expression, the degree on top is less than the one on the bottom. The one on the bottom is more. This means that y equals 0 is going to be a horizontal asymptote. The last piece of information needed to sketch this graph of the function are these intercepts. And remember, there's two types of intercepts, x-intercepts and y-intercepts. Remember, the y-intercept is when x is 0. So if we sub in 0 for x, we'll see what our output is. In this case, we get 0 plus 1 over 0 squared minus 4. If we simplify, we get negative 1/4. That means there's a y-intercept at 0, negative 1/4. For the x-intercept, this is when the function is 0. And remember, we just focus on when the numerator is 0, because 0 divided by anything is 0. So if we set the numerator equal to 0 and solve for x, we see that x equals negative 1. So this means there's an x-intercept at negative 1, 0. Now let's put all this information together and try to sketch this graph. The easiest things to sketch right away are the two vertical asymptotes. We sketch these by using dashed lines. So notice we have a vertical asymptote right at x equals negative 2, and we have another vertical asymptote at x equals 2. So we sketch these with dashed lines to signify asymptotes. Horizontal asymptotes are similar. So we have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. But remember, it is okay for a function to cross the horizontal asymptotes, but not the vertical ones. So we check these off our list. For holes, there's none. The domain kind of follows with the vertical asymptotes, so it's not really, can't really sketch that. But we can sketch these two specific points here, the y-intercept and x-intercept. We know this function crosses at -1, 0. And we also know that it crosses at 0, -1/4. So it's kind of hard for us to sketch the graph just with these conditions, so we might need a few other points to plot. If we set up a table, or you can use your calculator table feature, there's a couple nice points we can plot. When we're trying to figure out other points along this graph, it's good to find some points in the other quadrants. So let's pick values of, let's say -3, 1, and 3. Those are places where they're in different quadrants. So if I plug in -3 for my function, I get -3 plus 1 all over -3 squared, which is 9 minus 4. If I simplify, I get -2 over 5. It's not a nice point, but we can roughly plot where this is. -3, -2/5 is slightly below that asymptote line. The next point, if I sub in 1 for this function, I get 1 plus 1 over 1 squared minus 4. This gives me 2 over -3. So if I sub in 1, I get -2/3. So try to roughly plot this point somewhere down here. And if I sub in 3 for my function, I get 3 plus 1 all over 3 squared, which is 9 minus 4. In this case, I get 4 over 5, positive value. So if I sub in 3, I get 4/5. Now, investigating end behavior, or we know the end behavior approaches 0. So on this side, it's going to approach that way. On this side, it's going to just be under that asymptote. And for the rest of it, it's really looking at sort of what happens as you approach some values. And you can use your table for this, or you can just simply look at the graph to get a rough sketch of it. But if you finish it off, this function actually approaches negative infinity from the left side of -2, and it approaches positive infinity from the right side of -2. And if we connect it with the points that we plotted in the middle, if we investigate at x equals 2, from the left side of x equals 2, it approaches negative infinity, and from the right side of x equals 2, it approaches positive infinity. And a good way to check if you did it correctly is to look at your, actually graph this on your calculator and check. But if you notice in red, this would be my final graph of what the function roughly looks like. Let's take a look at this last example. Again, we need to find the domain, identify any holes, asymptotes, intercepts, and then use all that information to sketch the graph. If you look at this function, we know that it's factorable. In fact, on top, we have a difference of squares, so we can factor that to x minus 3, x plus 3. On the bottom, this factors into x minus 3, x plus 2. So the domain is what makes it undefined. In this case, x cannot be 3 or -2, because if we sub those values in, we divide by 0 and we get an undefined value. So in this case, the domain, when we described in interval notation, would be -infinity to -2, not including it, everything between -2 and 3, and from 3 to infinity. As far as any holes go, notice that there is a factor that cancels. X minus 3 cancels. This means there's a hole at x equals 3. To find the specific point, we need to find the output when x is 3. So if you notice the simplified form, which is x plus 3 over x plus 2, if we sub in x equals 3 for x, we get 3 plus 3 over 3 plus 2. In this case, that becomes 6 over 5. So the hole is exactly at 3, 6 over 5. This is going to help us slightly to sketch the function. Next, we need to find the asymptotes. Remember that at x equals 3, it's a hole, so we wouldn't consider that an asymptote. So the only true asymptote is when x cannot equal -2. So we'd say vertical asymptote at x equals -2. For horizontal asymptotes, remember the tricks. Notice that the degree on top is the same as the degree on the bottom. So in this case, we divide both of those terms and we get x squared over x squared, which is just 1. So this tells me y equals 1 is a horizontal asymptote. Now for the intercepts, there's two types. We have the y-intercept and we have the x-intercepts. Remember, the y-intercept is when we sub in 0 for x. In this case, if we sub in 0, what we're left with is negative 9 over negative 6, which that reduces to 3 over 2. So there's y-intercept at 0, 3 over 2. Lastly, for the x-intercepts, remember this is when the function is 0. And for a function to be 0, especially for a rational function, that's when the top is 0, because 0 divided by anything is 0. Now notice again, the whole canceled with x minus 3, so we're just focused on the 0 of x plus 3. In this case, if we subbed in negative 3 for x, it would make the function 0. So this means there's an x-intercept at negative 3, comma 0. Now let's use all this information to sketch the graph on the next slide. Now when we sketch this function, the easiest thing to sketch are the vertical asymptotes and the horizontal asymptotes. So we know there's a vertical asymptote at x equals negative 2. So let's signify that by using a dashed line. We know that there's a horizontal asymptote at y equals 1. This means that the end behavior will also approach 1 as we go to a negative infinity and positive infinity. We can also sketch some points here. So we know the function goes through 0, 3 halves. That's our y-intercept. 0, 3 halves is just above that y equals 1 line, so right about here. And we know that there's an x-intercept at negative 3, 0. Now it'd be nice to get some other points. Now we can actually graph the whole here, which is 3, comma 6 fifths. And if we graph that, that's slightly above that horizontal asymptote again. But we signify the whole by using an open circle. So we kind of need some other points. And again, it's good to check and plug in a few other points just to get some. But then again, you can use your calculator to kind of check your answer here. One thing we know is that as we approach negative 2 from the left-hand side, I believe it goes to negative infinity. And from the right-hand side, it goes to positive infinity. And you can check using your table function on your calculator. But notice the end behavior also approaches 1 from the tail ends of both sides. So you can kind of get an idea, even without getting extra points, of what the function would look like. So let me highlight this in red. So here would be our final function. And again, you can check using your calculator. But there we go. So get ready to do some practice. In fact, there's a few problems I want you guys to do on the worksheet that's for today. And on Monday, we'll review everything. Have a good weekend. So here's your homework for today. On the worksheet, all I want you to do is number 1, 2, and 5. Now I posted the key online so you can check your answers on Canvas. And again, you can always refer back to this video lesson for extra help or look at the notes that I posted online as well.